Hello, I'm Jashikins, and welcome to another episode of Jash Reads. Again, this is live because my computer is not yet fixed. Well, my computer can't be fixed, and so I'm waiting for to move and get a new one so I could record. And because I'm afraid of overheating, I wouldn't be doing any more takes than just one take anyway, so why not do it live? And tonight's going to be a longer than normal chapter, so I'm like just super excited. I don't like reading for long amounts of times. I like the short chapters, like 10 or 15 minutes. I don't know how the fuck long this is going to be. So, let's continue reading Animorphs number 2, The Visitor, by K.A. Applegate. We will no longer have to search for the Andalites, Fisher 3 said. We have one right here with us. Shall I kill it? Chapman asked. No, don't kill it. Seize it. Seize it now, before it can morph back into Andalite shape. By the time I am done with this one, we will have them all. It has been a long time since I tortured a proud Andalite warrior. But I know how to break them. Seize it and bring it to me. Chapman knew better than to argue. Chapman dived. His hands were open wide, grabbing for me. I was trapped. No way out. No way to open that door and escape. Trapped. No sensible choice but to surrender. But the cat and I were in agreement on this. You never surrender. I felt my claws extend. My pupils were wide, ready to see every tiny movement. My ears were flattened back against my skull. My needle-sharp teeth were bared. My liquid steel muscles were coiled. Chapman's hands seemed to slow down. It was like he was moving in slow motion. Everything seemed slower to my heightened cat senses. Only I was moving at normal speed. My paw lashed out. My claws hit flesh. I saw 3 bright red tracks on the back of Chapman's hand. I could smell the blood that flowed. Ugh! Chapman howled. He backed away. Get it! Fisher 3 shouted. What's going on? Jake wondered. I feel like we're bouncing around a lot. Chapman got a determined look on his face. He came at me again. I was cornered. No way out. I slashed. Chapman cried out. My claws were lacerating him, tearing furrows in his arms and hands. He grabbed me around the middle. The cat in me hated being grabbed that way. Hated it a lot. I brought my teeth into it. I was a 10-pound bundle of lightning-fast claws and teeth. Chapman's hands looked like raw hamburger. A magnificent animal, Fisher 3 commented. Twist it around. Hold it with your forearm. That's right. I did a lot of damage. Believe me, Chapman got hurt. But in the end, no matter how tough I was just 10 pounds of killer. Chapman was about 18 times bigger. He got his forearm around my chest. He had me pressed back against his chest. My front legs were pinned. With his other arm, he managed to grab my hind legs. All I could do was bite. I bit again and again, although I could hurt him. I couldn't kill him. I couldn't stop him. His fear of Visher 3 was greater than the pain I was causing. Bring it to me, Visher 3 said enthusiastically. Bring it to me. I will come to collect it at the nearest landing site. Visher, what if it... Oh, what if it resumes its Andalite shape? You have weapons? If it tries to remorph, kill it. Yes, run, little beast. Yes, Fisher, I will go directly. We will deal with this ant-like bandit, and bring the girl, too. The girl? Melissa? Chapman asked. I have been indulgent too long. This Andalite spy has penetrated your home. It is because of the girl. I have already chosen the Yerk for her. Bring her with the Andalite. Obey me, and it's 226, or prepare to face the Varnox. Fisher 3's hologram disappeared. Chapman suddenly threw me across the room. I twisted in midair and brought my legs around for the landing. I hit the floor and skidded. Okay, something is definitely going on out there. By the time I was up, Chapman had reached his desk and opened a drawer. His bloody hand came out with a small pistol-like device I had seen before. It was a handheld Dracon beam. Chapman leveled the weapon at me. He was shaking. His face seemed to be twitching. The weapon jerked a little with each spasm, but I knew he would still have got me if I had tried to move. Are you going to tell me what's going on? Jake demanded. A few seconds ago, I felt another warm body close by, and I think I'm sensing blood. We're in kind of a mess, I said. What kind of a mess? Jake asked. Chapman has a Dracon beam pointed at me. He knows I'm not exactly a cat. He thinks I'm an Andalite. He's taking me to Visher 3. Oh. This is bad. It gets worse. Visher 3 wants Melissa too. Chapman opened the door crack. Get down here, now, he yelled upstairs. I guess he saw my eyes flick toward the door. He made a fierce, vicious grin. Try it, Andalite. Go ahead and try it. I'd love the excuse to fry you. I decided not to head for the door. You've made life very difficult for me, Chapman said. Very difficult. If I have to let Visher 3 take the girl, my host will make life annoying for me. Do you know how tiring it is to have an uncooperative host? No, of course you don't. But trust me, Andalite, I will gladly kill you. Miss Chapman appeared at the door. What is it? This cat is one of the Andalite bandits in a morph. Visher 3 wants him. Give me the cage we used to take him to the vet. Miss Chapman nodded and disappeared. What's going on now? Jake asked. Miss Chapman is getting a cage, I said. I was feeling utterly defeated. Because of me, the Yerks were going to take Melissa. I had failed. I had made a mess of things. Miss Chapman brought the cage. She opened the little barred door. In, Chapman snapped. I didn't move. In, he said in a cruel whisper. In, or I'll finish you right here. He looked like he meant it. I walked into the cage. Miss Chapman closed the door and made sure it was locked. Chapman snatched up the cage and carried me to the top of the stairs. Now, he snapped at his wife. Go get... Peering through the slats in the side of the cage, I saw him stagger. His face was twitching like he was a crazy man. He seemed to be having a hard time getting control of his mouth. Go get the girl, he said through gritted teeth. Miss Chapman started to obey. Then Chapman cried out. Oh, he fell to his knees. He is fighting me. Host rebellion? Miss Chapman muttered under her breath. She seemed horrified and fascinated all at once. Then, suddenly, her left hand slapped her own face. Ah! Mine too. Stop it, Chapman, Chapman said. Stop it or I'll break you. I'll leave you nothing but a shell. You cannot win. No host has ever succeeded in rebelling. But the Chapman host wasn't giving up. It was terrible. Terrible in a way that made you want to watch. To anyone else, it would have just looked as if our assistant principal and his wife were nuts. Chapman was talking to himself and twitching and contorting, still unable to get to his feet. The hosts are fighting the Yeerks, I told Jake. The human brains are resisting. Chapman's out of control. Miss Chapman is trying to choke herself with her own hand. The Yeerk is trying to regain control. It's incredible. I can't believe it. I can't believe the host can fight back this hard. It's because of Melissa. They're fighting for their daughter. Ark! Chapman cried. Suddenly he lurched to his feet. I will win, Chapman. You cannot resist. And it was true. The Chapman host was losing, and his 226 was regaining control. The same was happening with Miss Chapman. The Yeerk in her head was forcing the rebellious hand away from her throat. But neither of the Chapmans looked good. They're exhausted, I reported to Jake. They're regaining control, but they're both a mess. Sweating, pale, still trembling and jerking. Chapman looked at his wife, or at least the Yeerk slug in Chapman's brain ordered his eyes to look toward the body that was controlled by a different Yeerk. It was harder now to think of Chapman as just being Chapman. I had seen proof that there were two creatures inside him. I even knew what that was like. There were two people in my head as well. I had fought to control the shrew, just as the Chapman Yeerk now fought to control Chapman's brain. Chapman said, I have control again. Miss Chapman nodded. Yes, but just barely. They fight fiercely for their children, these humans. And they will not stop fighting. I can't maintain my cover with this host waiting to attack at every opportunity. I have to be at the school every day. This host is beaten and exhausted for now, but in a few days he will strike again. Chapman sounded angry and frustrated. He's not a fool. He knows he can't win. He knows each battle will leave him weaker and that eventually I will triumph. Miss Chapman kicked my cage like it was all my fault. He doesn't have to win. All he has to do is wait until you are in a meeting with parents or members of the school board, then strike. They'll think you've lost your mind. Chapman looked haunted. He checked his watch. I'll take the Andalites to Vischer 3. Maybe I can make him understand. Go quickly, Miss Chapman told her husband. Chapman snatched up the cage I was in. He barreled through the door. He slammed me into the door jamb on the way. Daddy? Daddy? What are you doing? It was Melissa. She was across the living room. I hadn't seen her arrive. Where had she been? I could only pray that she had not heard everything. If she'd heard it all, there was no hope for her. Chapman kept walking, out into the wet night. Daddy? Do you have Fluffer in there? It's Melissa, I told Jake. If she doesn't back off, she's going to force them to take her. Daddy? Melissa sounded frightened now. She came running. Chapman moved quicker. The real Chapman was helping. He knew his daughter would only make things worse if she tried to intervene. Fluffer! Melissa cried. There was only one hope. Tobias, I cried out, making my thought speech as loud as I could. Tobias, can you hear me? His answer was faint, but it was Tobias. Yes, Rachel. The real Fluffer. We need him. We need him right now. Rachel, what is going on out there? Jake demanded. Fluffer? Why are you taking Fluffer? Daddy? Stop. Out the front door we went, out into the night, Melissa sobbing pitifully, Jake demanding to know what was happening, Chapman walking as fast as he could. Melissa grabbed her father's arm. The cage wobbled wildly. Daddy, you can't take Fluffer. Don't take him away. What are you doing? The car. I could see it in the driveway. We were almost there. Suddenly I heard a yowling, yammering, high-pitched sound that started as a hiss and ended as a shriek. Like a bullet he came, racing across the lawn. The real Fluffer. He was running like every monster in the world was right behind him. In the darkness, the humans couldn't see what was scaring Fluffer so badly. But with my cat eyes, I could see perfectly. Just a few feet off the ground, like some dark shadow of death, came Tobias. Fluffer must have recognized his cage. He must have figured that if he just got inside, he'd be safe from the talons of the raptor that pursued him. Fluffer leaped toward the cage. He glommed onto it and tried to dig his claws into the plastic. For one frozen instant, Fluffer McKitty saw something he never expected to see. Fluffer saw himself. It was almost as weird for me. The cat in my head was totally baffled. This new cat smelled exactly like himself. This did not make any sense at all. It meant nothing. It wasn't even a part of any cat reality. The human part of me noticed a small cut on Fluffer's head. Tobias had taken a good swipe at him to get him moving in the right direction. Fluffer? Melissa said. But she tried to peer inside the cage. Chapman was quick. No, sweetheart, he said. This isn't Fluffer at all. It's some other cat that sneaked into the basement. He's different. I'm taking him to the shelter so his owners can pick him up. But why didn't you just tell me that? Chapman looked confused. I didn't notice you. Melissa stepped back like she'd been slapped. But Daddy, I was crying. Sorry, Chapman shrugged. He shoved the cage into the back seat. We drove off. I breathed a sigh of relief. I knew Melissa wasn't safe yet, but she was safe for now, at least. Good work, Tobias, I said. I don't think he could hear me, and I couldn't see out of the windows, so I didn't know if he or Mark or Cassie were anywhere close. Jake, you still with me? Yes. Do you have a minute to fill me in? The flea existence is fine for hiding, but I can't tell anything about what's going on. I'm in a cat carrier. Chapman's in the front seat. He watches me through the rear view mirror. He still has the Dracon beam. I think maybe I'm in pretty big trouble here. We're not beaten yet, Jake said. Jake, time must be getting short. It's been at least an hour. You must have morphed for me. You need to get away and morph back. We still have time, Jake said. You have a watch, Jake? I asked. Don't think so. You're what? About twice the size of a period on the page of a book? You can't risk being trapped in a flea morph. Besides, there's nothing you can do. We hadn't traveled far before the car started bouncing and rattling over a rough road. As soon as we get outside, you need to jump off, Jake, I said. Just make yourself jump away from warmth and away from the smell of blood. You can do that. Car came to a stop. Rachel, there is no way I'm going to leave you alone. I knew he was trying to be brave, but he was making me mad. Jake, we're trapped. He's got a Dracon beam, and I'm in a cage. Fisher 3 is coming to get me. I can't morph back or it'll say I'm human. Chapman will recognize me. How long do you think it will take them to figure out who the rest of us are? It would be the end of us all. The end of the Animorphs. The end of the only hope for stopping these guys. Come on, Jake. You know it's true. We're not beaten yet, Jake repeated stubbornly. The only hope is for me to stay in Catmorph, I said. They'll probably, you know, but at least they'll never find out about the rest of you. Now jump off me. Chapman got out of the car. He came around and opened the back door. Time to meet the Fisher, and Light. He'll have a wonderful time with you. Chapman lifted me out of the back seat. I looked out through the bars. We're at the construction site, I told Jake. Now get off me. I'm not... I couldn't argue with Jake anymore. I was afraid now. Afraid I could picture what Fisher 3 might do to me. Sorry, Jake. This time, I'm the boss, I said, and I cocked my rear leg and started scratching in that rapid cat-like way. What are you doing? I'm scratching. I want you off me. Okay, okay, Jake said. Just stop it. It's like an earthquake here. Okay, Rachel? You're right. We've lost this battle. Chapman carried the cage into the construction site. I could see the ground go by beneath me. I could see through the bars all the half-built cinder block buildings. I could see the very spot where the five of us had cowered in terror while Visher 3 had morphed into a monster and swallowed the Andalite prince. The Andalite's last despairing cry came back to me. He had lost his fight. Now I was losing mine. Maybe there was no hope. Maybe we were fools to even try and resist the Yerks. Get out of here, Jake, I said. Okay, Rachel, here I go. Look, be strong, Rachel. Yeah, Jake. You too. Jumping. A few seconds later, Chapman put me down on the ground. He waited beside the cage. The two of us stared off into the darkness. I decided to make sure Jake was gone. Jake? Jake? No answer. Jake, answer me. I've changed my mind. I want you to stay with me. If he had lied to me, he would answer now. Come on, Jake, I've changed my mind. I need you. No answer. He was truly gone. The fact filled me with grim satisfaction. If Jake and the others survived, there would still be some hope. But the feeling of loneliness was awful. Then I heard the sound of something large moving swiftly in the air. I pressed my head against the door and looked up. 3 craft were descending toward the construction site. 2 of them were smaller, about the size of one of those recreational vehicles, maybe a little larger. They had a cowled, insect-like look. They looked like beetles with twin, long, serrated spears pointed forward on each side. The Andalite had called them bug fighters. The third craft was much larger, shaped like an angular battle axe. It was black on black, sharp, and deadly looking. As it sank slowly toward us, I felt my fear grow. It was not the cat that was afraid. It was me, the human. The cat didn't know what this ship was. I did. I had seen it before. The Andalite had called it a blade ship. It was the personal ship of Visher 3, and terror seemed to flow from it. I could smell the fierce sweat on Chapman. I guess I was glad he was scared, too. Maybe Visher 3 would become the Van Arcs and suck the Chapman Yerk out of Chapman's head. Maybe the true Chapman would experience a few seconds of freedom before he was killed. Maybe the Chapman's Yerk would suffer before Visher 3 finished him off. Maybe. Fear is like a worm inside you. It eats you. It chews your guts. It bores holes in your heart. It makes you feel hollow, empty, alone. Fear. The blade ship landed between 2 half-finished buildings. The bug fighters came to rest on either side. They looked so strange, parked between the yellow-painted earth movers and graders in the construction site. The earth movers looked like toys. The alien craft looked like deadly weapons. I was afraid. I tried to borrow the cat's courage, his indifference, but then the door of the blade ship opened. I had no courage. Only fear. And that's the end of this really happy chapter where lots of happiness occurred. Lots and lots of happiness. Totally happy. tried to limit the drinking of tea to only a few moments. But yeah, some interesting things happen this chapter. One, of course, is that hosts can rebel, that we actually saw a host rebellion, what that looks like. And it was bittersweet. The host didn't win and they wouldn't have a chance of winning. It was also sweet because you really saw the love the parents had for their child, that the love for their daughter made them able to put that much effort and that much energy. Like, yeah, it's going to be a useless battle, but as Miss Chapman pointed out, the Yeerks could definitely disrupt their lives enough. Yeah. And also, I just love Jake and Flea morph on Rachel. It actually really makes these chapters not so dark to read, as long as I'm like, yay! I can see it's hilarious enough to relieve some of the tension. And I'm sort of excited about next chapter because there's going to be Visher 3, and I love reading Visher 3. Just that confidence. I guess I didn't really do as much confidence as usual, but it's this chapter. But I tried. I just like the cool energy that seems to flow through me with him, because it's like he's evil and conniving, but at least he knows what he wants. And you know. So yeah, what were your thoughts on this chapter? Please comment below. Remember, no major spoilers. Like, little things okay. Like, little things okay, big things no, because I'm hoping that people maybe that haven't really picked up the series before can watching these videos and, you know, have fun and enjoy it as they're watching it, as they're, experience it for the first time. So I don't want to, certain big spoilers in the series definitely shouldn't be ruined upon first watching. Yeah. Or reading. Watching if you're watching this, reading if you're reading. And if you go in the link to the description, you can buy the book yourself. So if you're needing to, if you've already read the series and are now just trying to buy all the books again, or you were missing a book or two or three, and one of the books you were missing was number 2, or if this video has actually gotten you interested in Animorphs and you want to read it for yourself, you can read this book and have lots of fun. And, please like this video and subscribe to the channel, because I'm an attention whore. I do this so people pay attention to me. If you're watching this on my bloggity blog, jashyoucanstopblogspot.com, use the follow by email option so you can see when the next video of this is put out on the blog and any other blog content that I release in the future. And now, sorry, I'm like, yeah, I get to drink a little bit of alcohol. I do not have problems. I might have an issue or two, but no problems. So this is the part of the video where do a little cheer. And so I'm going to sip a little sake. And if you want to join in, grab your favorite alcoholic beverage, or if you don't drink for whatever reason, not judging here, go and drink a little bit of something else. Like I drink, over here I have tea. But, So things to cheer for. I'm hoping that Game of Thrones Season 8 is at least decent. Season 7 was just a fucking disaster with things rushed. The pacing was way the fuck off. Plot holes, questions not answered. So I'm hoping season 8's good, and that treats Jorah Mormont, my favorite character, well. Now I'm a Jorah Daenerys shipper big time, but I don't care, really if they get together or not, because I'm more concerned about them disrespecting his character, because he's definitely has this feel of he's not really a popular character, and so D&D might say, hey, since he's not really important, we'll just kill him off in something that's meant to be dramatic, but that isn't, such as how they killed the Sand Snakes last season. But I'm really hoping they don't disrespect his character, and if he dies, go out in a badass motherfucking way, because his character is badass. He might not be a Sir Arthur Dayne or Sir Barristan Selmy, but he's fucking badass. So I'm hoping for that. Really hoping for that. So let's hope for that. Hey! Well, this. Yeah. I actually saved the sake under this table, not under the desk, for just these episodes. Okay, don't trap. And I should have an episode out again Thursday, and then for my 7th year anniversary with Rev Resner, my fiance, and for Valentine's Day I'll be gone, so for a few weeks. So, but then I will be back and doing more Jash reads. So until next video, goodbye.